Hey buddies, in this video we are going to talk about pre-Socratic, Greek philosophy, and the role of Greek philosophy in building the modern Western civilization. Greek philosophy is not a particular philosophy but rather a complex system of several philosophical schools by different philosophers in the region of Greece which shaped the Western civilization. Greece has a long coastline in the Mediterranean basin because of which climate in Greece is usually mild to moderate rather than other European nations with harsh climatic conditions. This is the reason because of which Greece developed as a perfect civilization for the development of philosophical thought and ideas. First we are going to talk about the Milesian school of thought in ancient Greece. In this school of thought, and they believe in a fundamental principle of universe on which everything in the world exists, and this fundamental principle creates the basics of reality. They denied the concept of divine power and told that this fundamental principle is the reason for everything which exists in the universe. Thales is considered as the first Greek philosopher and father of Western philosophy, who once was going to somewhere when suddenly he slipped, because of which his servant made a joke on him that how he was so busy in looking the heavens that he actually forgot to look at the world around him. In this story we can clearly see the philosophy of Milesian school of thought, which focuses on fundamental materialistic world rather than supernatural world. Thales gave the concept that the whole cosmos is made up of water and water is the fundamental part of the universe. He also gave the concept of monism, in which everything is reduced to only one substance which tells us the natural cause, and he had several astronomical contributions to the world of science. Second philosopher is Anaximander, who told about the philosophy of Apeiron, which is timeless and boundless, and Anaximander proposed Apeiron as the originator of all things in the universe and is immortal and indestructible. Also he said that cosmology originated through separation of all things from Apeiron. He also suggested that life originated in waters on earth and humans evolved from fish-like creatures. His theory on justice and rights is one of the primal theories, in which he describes that everything must be maintained in an equilibrium, but when people destroy the equilibrium order of universe they have to also bear the consequences of those disturbances. Because of him the concept of metaphysics gained its root in the Western philosophy. He talked about the celestial movements and instruments to measure the celestial movements, and also taught about the shape of the earth as a curved object. The third thinker is Anaximenes, who taught about a pneuma known as air, in which he explains how the human soul is formed by air, and also claimed that all celestial objects are made up of air. He claimed that air is the breath of life and a fundamental principle of all reality. Now, we are going to talk about the Pythagorean school of philosophy, which is about mathematics and numbers mysticism, and tells that numbers are fundamental essence of the world, and he emphasized on mathematical relationship and number complexity. Greek philosophy also talks about the concept of cosmic harmony and order, where everything in the universe follows order and mathematical rules. Also the Pythagorean school of thought believes in soul's immortality and reincarnation. First philosopher of the Pythagorean school of thought is Heraclitus, believed that everything is flux and change is considered as the only constant, because of which one of his famous quotes was, "You cannot step in a river twice." He believed that reality is made out of contradictions that are present in harmony, and logos is the underlying order or reason of the universe. He also influenced Stoicism and modern existentialism. Our second philosopher is Parmenides, and according to him only being exists and non-being. He believed that reality is one and indivisible, eternal and unchanging. He was a foundational figure of metaphysics and rationalist thought, and promoted the way of truth over the way of opinion. The Eleatic school of thought is the next school of thought, whose foundational fathers are Zeno of Elea and Milesians, and their philosophical purpose was to talk about the nature of being, metaphysical reality and reality of being. Zeno of Elea was a Greek philosopher best known as the student of Parmenides and chief defender of the Eleatic school of thought, and was most famous for his paradoxes, and one of his paradoxes was paradox of Achilles and tortoise, in which Achilles and tortoise starts from same starting position, but every time Achilles reaches the tortoise's last position, it has moved ahead slightly. This shows that Achilles can never overtake tortoise. Zeno of Elea used such paradoxes for representation of his philosophies and is considered a notable and honorable philosopher. Now, we are going to talk about Milesians of Samos, who was a naval commander of the Samian fleet, which shows the world that a philosopher can also win a war. He also believed in the philosophy of Parmenides and helped the philosophers to grow more intellectually. He denied that only senses are true and believed that metaphysical worlds also exist. He also used many paradoxes for proving his point. Then we are going to talk about the pluralist school of thought, in which emphasizes diversity, coexistence and different perspectives of reality, which stands in contrast with monism. They also believe that the elements all around the world are movable and changeable, and believe that there are multiple ways of knowing reality and world around us. Empedocles is considered the philosopher who preached that there are four main elements from which world is made, and these elements are fire, earth, water and air, and these elements combine in different ratios to form the physical world. According to him, two cosmic forces, love and strife, which shows us the cycle of love and strife working together, and also believed in reincarnation. Our next philosopher is Anaxagoras, who believed that everything contains a portion of seed, and he introduced the concept of nous, a cosmic force or intelligence that initiates motion and order in universe. He rejected the mythological concepts of gods, which made the Greek government to put him in exile because of his blasphemy. Our next school of thought is Atomist school of thought, which believed that atoms are building block of everything and everything came into existence through motion and arrangement of atoms. Democritus was a materialistic philosopher who was founding member of atomic school of thought and believed that everything, even the soul, cannot move without the movement of atoms. He also believed that highest goal is cheerfulness and happiness of mind, and ethical living means aligning with nature and reason, avoiding excess emotions. Leucippus is a philosopher who proposed that atoms are indivisible and also was a founding father of atomic school of thought. He believed that nothing happens in random and everything occurs for a reason and by necessity. Though overshadowed by his students, he introduced core ideas of materialism and atomism. Our next school of thought is Sophist school of thought, which taught about the importance of public speaking and speaking articulately in front of public. The Sophists used to move from town to town to help people improving their articulation skills and debate on different topics of life, politics, and world. Rhetorics can be considered as a way persuasion by which Sophists used to attract masses by their way of talking. These are the main pre-Socratic Greek philosophy, and in our next video we will cover the Socratic school of thought.